I stopped eating breakfast at home because my husband kept judging every bite I took, so I stopped eating at home. It started back in April, about 2 months after we bought our first house together. I have always been a morning person, waking up around 6:30, making myself an iced oat milk latte, frying 2 eggs with avocado toast, and just sitting at our kitchen island to mentally prepare for my day. It was my favorite 30 minutes of peace. Then, the comments started. One Tuesday morning, my husband walked into the kitchen, looked at my plate, and let out this soft, playful laugh. Wow, living the luxurious life, huh? Must be nice to have time for a whole hotel breakfast on a workday. I just laughed it off, assuming he was joking. But 2 days later, while I was stirring vanilla syrup into my cup, he leaned against the counter and whispered, "You know, those liquid calories add up insanely fast before 8 a.m., right?" He didn't say it meanly. He said it with this warm, gentle smile, which somehow made it 10 times worse. By the following week, it was constant. If I pulled out a second slice of bread, he would raise his eyebrows and ask, "Are you sure you need all those carbs today?" One morning, I was eating a simple bowl of oatmeal, and he looked at me and said, "You really love to indulge, don't you?" I froze. My chest felt tight. I put my spoon down, threw half the bowl into the trash, and left for work early. A few days later, I stopped making coffee altogether. I started waking up at 6, hacking my laptop, and telling him I had decided to try intermittent fasting. He just nodded, took a sip of his black coffee, and said, "Good for you, babe. Discipline is so important." He accepted it without a second thought, but I wasn't fasting. I was driving 4 miles down the road to my older sister Maya's house. Maya works from home and has 2 little kids. The first morning I showed up at 6:45. She looked super confused, but when I sat on her couch and quietly confessed that I couldn't stand being in my own kitchen, she didn't ask a million probing questions. She just walked over to the stove, pulled out a skillet, and started frying eggs, sitting at her messy dining table, listening to my niece chatter about her school project. I didn't feel watched. I didn't feel judged. I just ate. I went back the next day, and the day after that. By week 3, it was my daily routine. Maya started buying oat milk specifically for me. She would text me every evening around 8 p.m., asking, "Latte and waffles tomorrow morning?" My husband never asked a single question. For 4 straight weeks, he never wondered why the oat milk in our fridge hadn't been touched. He never asked how my fasting was going. He just enjoyed having the quiet kitchen to himself until last Thursday night. We were sitting on the couch watching TV, and he handed me his phone with a workout video on the screen. "Hey, since you're doing so great with your morning fasting, maybe you should try this 20-minute cardio routine too." I muted the TV. The living room went dead silent. I looked at him and said, "I haven't been fasting." He frowned, looking genuinely confused. "What do you mean? You haven't eaten breakfast here in a month." "I haven't eaten breakfast here," I said softly, "because every single morning at 6:30, I drive to Maya's house. She makes me eggs, we drink coffee, and I eat in a home where nobody counts my bites." He stared at me. You could literally see him counting backward through 30 days of quiet mornings. He opened his mouth to say, "Babe, it wasn't that serious," but the words died in his throat when he saw my face. Now there is a brand new carton of oat milk sitting in our fridge, but every morning at 6:30, I still grab my keys and drive to my sister's, because once you realize where you are safe, you can never unsee where you aren't.